and what we do. Obviously, we all know where it's probably heading, but
I could imagine what a line of credit interest would cost. I mean,
unfortunately, I think this guy has something, and I think he has a great relationship with his own bank, and this is speculation on my part. Unfortunately, we're at the nth hour plus.
well, he would need
We'll
that
see.
because of the history of this project. He would need something like that to keep the.
Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't happen 12 months ago, but that's here and there now. So that's where they're at. They're still in communications. They have worked with the village. There's nothing physically being done at the moment. And that's the quick update.
The village agrees with what he said. In other words, the village says all he needs to do is take the environmental thing.
Yep. I mean, at this point, yes. If he does something different than that, that plan. I did look back in that plan. What we have is you ask the question, is it the same as the app? The app has a lump sum of what's going to occur construction. So I'm sure its foundation is in there, but it doesn't specify enough of a breakdown of what's happening. So it's hard to, so you got to assume it's part of the work scope, but it didn't break it down enough. Our line items have equipment, land purchase, engineering fees, construction, and inside construction, there is no inside construction.
Yeah,
It's a lump.
Yeah.
Anything else on Sharon Springs Inc.?
I guess more to follow as usual.
Alright. New business, agency meeting policy, resolution needed to pass.
I sent it by computer, but I printed one out. This, and it doesn't have to pass it, or, whatever the preference of the board is. I didn't print out enough, but, Joe Scott prepared this, as he did with, to keep up with the new requirements of the open meetings laws. And, so basically here it is, technically, I don't really see it. Unfortunately, it's, just, it is, I hate to say this, but it is what it is, so to speak. It's the way things, I guess, have to be for a public meeting.
And it has that exception in there. I mean, if you still have to have a quorum here, but if someone is sick or whatever, they can still Zoom in if capabilities there.
Yeah.
Which is one of the new updates to the law there.
Right, it beats, when you're correct. When it first came out, you wouldn't even have that option.
Right.
Now, does that give the person zooming in the ability to vote and so on?
I believe so, as long as you have a quorum,
Yeah.
as long as you have a quorum here at the table.
We're correct. Right. So basically, it gives them the right, but it's the people sitting. Right. They carry the weight, basically. But at least they can, at least you can participate from a distance.
You can participate from a distance and have a vote, as long as there's a quorum.
As long as there's a quorum at the table.
At the table, somebody absent could have the vote.
Yep. That was the way I.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep.
No?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
disagree.
You're legit, Wanda. She's on the phone.
Juan, are you there?
It's on you, yes, okay, thank you.
Well, that's good.
Well, the person zooming in though has to meet one of those exceptions. I mean, like sickness or whatever there. I mean, it just, I don't know if vacation would come into play there.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Hear that,
because
Juan?
because
I hear that, yes. So my vote would be any good like in
It's
Florida.
heavier duty, so it's
No, you just be sick.
a heavier reason.
It has to be one of those reasons.
Sick of the winter.
Yeah,
That's it.
there you go.
Yeah,
Mental health, Wanda.
right, absolutely.
So we need
Is
to,
this a
Well,
roll
if-
call vote or is
If,
this
if,
just
it's just a resolution, just a resolution, it is a resolution. If we're agreeable with it, and don't have any further questions, we should vote,
Yeah.
vote on it, or whatever way you want to.
I have a motion,
I'll make a motion.
second,
I'll second.
all in favor,
I,
all opposed? Hearing none, motion is passed. Let's see, number 6. Other Perry County IDA administration, IDA land.
I'll hit the land part first. I ordered appraisal. I thought it might be ready by now, and so does Scott, the person doing it, but it's not. It hasn't been back yet. So it's a work in progress as far as our land that the house sits on, that side of the road. It's, I would assume within a week or so it'll be ready. I mean, it probably just missed. And then after that, we can, decide, we can decide what we want to do going forward. We still have that business interested in the property. Whether we want to pursue it or not. The base premise was get the appraisal first. And then see. I think one of the decisions we have to make is, we'll have to review, and I don't know if you want to do it by, 2-person committee or the whole board. Does it matter what type of business, what it is, or, is it, you open it up to anybody? Ben asked a question about an RFP or what you have to do. You don't have to do that, you can negotiate. You have to justify, obviously it should be for jobs creation. And not just moving from one spot to another without a reason. And then if that happens, and then you get, the deals worked out, say it comes in at the appraised price. And then we write the state, and don't quote me, but, there's 6 different offices to write. They get it and they review it for 90 days. If they don't answer, you're all right to go. If they do answer, you have to answer them back or whatever. But that's a simple process, a simplified version of it. But I think it really will matter. Do you want whatever specific, do you want that business to come in? Do you think it's a value to the community? Whether it's investment and jobs, obviously 2 of the biggest factors for us is those 2 items. And then the viability, how much do we get into thinking, geez, is this a fad type business or is this going to be around for 50 years? Or, I know nobody can tell, otherwise we'd be all in the market and going crazy, but, how much you get involved in that decision. So I do think it's got to be analyzed more once we get that appraisal, and that appraisal will have the best use too in it. Not only just have a value for the land, but I'll have the best use, type statement in it. So once we get that, whatever the pleasure is, whether you want to do it, by 2 people,
I don't understand something. So we're gonna sell this property, correct?
if you want to. I say what I'm saying is we have a decision to make on whether we want to sell it to any type of business, or do you want the business that you think is best to go in there.
We have,
I'm making it too complicated.
If I wanted to do a tattoo parlor, okay?
right,
And that's not exactly the classiest business in the world, okay? But we're getting rid of the property, and it's an honest, it's legal, why do we have to go
so
through?
long as it aligns with zoning and.
Yeah,
Or if someone
sure,
wants to
assuming
rezone it
it's
too.
legal,
I mean,
everything is legal, what do we care if how many, I don't understand.
No, you don't have to understand. You answered you answered my question. You're telling me it doesn't matter.
To me.
That's fine. I mean, I'm good with that decision. I'm not arguing not to. I just thought that should be a decision that should be made.
I think there'll be a question on job generation. The tattoo parlor is gonna come in and have 1 person operating,
Yeah.
or 2. And you're putting them on, 50 acres. He wants all 50 acres.
Yeah, I used to say two parlor, but the point is, you're not gonna get, we probably will not get a bunch of companies that say, gee, I want this. We're gonna get, so if a company is ready to go, all right, and nobody else is available, I mean, I personally don't.
And if the company that's interested, if in fact we say no and they leave the county, then the county's lost jobs. So if we can retain the jobs and maybe increase, I think it's a plus. I mean, at least in my eyes.
Are we obligated to publicly advertise this? So we don't need to entertain or solicit other bids on the property. We can
No,
simply
I
say
mean, we could, but we don't need to.
we don't need to.
Are there any suggested conditions by anyone? Because this is part of the corridor. It's that Route 7 corridor. This is one of the properties, right?
Yep.
And the type of business that should be coming in or whatever.
I don't know if there's a type of business, I think it's light manufacturing, distribution type of thing. I mean, there was a study done, obviously, it was a site that was picked. And then there was a follow-up study on between Schoharie and Richmondville sites on off I-88, essentially, or along I-88. We happen to be on it, ours is small compared to most of the others. But they put a little schematic of what a building could fit on there. You know, how much of a building could fit on there, parking and that. There was no exact use picked, but that's what it would look like if you develop that site. You know, that's been done. I mean, that was before any interest was showing.
And then it would have to fit, just as Ben stated, it would have to fit the zoning, the current zoning for that area.
Right.
Yeah.
It could always be rezoned after the purchase, but
Yeah, it's an MU, which is certainly site review is on there. It's not commercial or industrial zoned as we speak. But you're right, you could go through that process of, you know, making it eligible. I mean, there's certain businesses that are already in there, except for site review, but it's not certainly what I would call heavy duty. I mean, it's nothing smokestackish because it would be, wouldn't be allowed without this variance or rezoning. But yeah, I mean, if that's the sentiment.
Are we going to sell it outright, or are we gonna lease it with the option to buy?
At one point, I'll just give you the history. We had a land lease that was agreeable with somebody. And purchased after 10 years, I think it was, 10 or 15. I'm pretty sure it was 10. That helped us as an IDA because of the income flow from the land lease, and we still got a purchase at the end, so it kind of gave us a set number of years of better income and more in control of what happened, at least for the first 10 years. But the option's open either way, as far as, you know, I'm concerned. Or you could just outright sell it. If you decide to outright sell it, I would suggest, and the idea before my time ran into this, you know, some business wanted to purchased it, and didn't do anything. So we lost the land, didn't get any jobs, you know, et cetera. So there probably should be a condition of, or contingencies, like, oh, all right, we're willing, but if you don't do something, then whatever agreed upon time frame, 1 year, 2 years, then it returns back to us at X price or something. I don't think that's too unreasonable, just to make sure it's at least the intended use is gotten in initially.
I have an issue with us being in the real estate business. In other words, we shouldn't be worrying about brick and mortar, is the rent due, is the boiler broke, and all of that stuff. I think we should sell it. I mean, I guess.
Well,
I
land lease, I mean, a land lease
contingency.
wouldn't do that. I mean, you don't have to be the, I mean, you don't have to be a landlord with a land lease.
I mean, it's just my personal bias. This is brick and mortar, and we're an industrial development agency that efforts should be industrial development. Not worrying about, does the tenant paying the rent, if it doesn't pay, and, all of the issues that go with owning a property.
I
Plus, you
understand.
get the money up front, then you get the money.
The difficulty, I'm gonna disagree a little bit. The difficulty is that getting the money up front, you're gonna make that one, although the rate's gone up, you're gonna get a couple percent. And IDAs that are stronger, have a property income stream.
Okay.
Yes, there does come risk with that reward, and work. But that's the other side of the coin. But I certainly understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying the other end is that.
It's a fair point.
But
So other IDAs are using the income streams from real property as.
yeah, but they also do what you said too. So I mean, there's a mixed bag. I mean, definitely.
I mean, to answer Chet's question, sale or lease, we know the terms of the lease and the appraised value, right? And then you just gotta do a math problem, essentially probably to figure out what the value is, but I would tend to agree that I wouldn't want to own the building now. I don't think either. I think we're gonna sell it, we're gonna sell it. I would rather see us put the capital towards finding sites that are potentially prime existing sites and making them shovel ready and spending our time doing that kind of stuff and getting things to a point where we can turn around and sell them for development and making a profit doing that rather than.
Yeah, and I don't think you ought to build either. I mean, we don't have the wherewithal to build.
Well, as a private owner, I fundamentally have a problem as a public entity competing with private people in the real estate world too, so.
The only advantage I can see is that of leasing is we may end up with a higher income stream than taking the money and,
Yeah.
because we're so constrained on what we can invest in. Except, as Ron just mentioned, you're now able to get a larger return on
I mean,
it.
a land lease too is not exactly leasing the building.
Yeah.
You're not running.
I don't know what we've looked at for investments, but I mean, these CDs are paying almost next to nothing. Like I have an E-Trade savings account, it's an online account, it's 2.75%. It's a savings account. You can take the money out tomorrow. You put it in tomorrow, you can take it out tomorrow. You have all the flexibility in the world. Like, there's a lot of other things out there besides certificates of depreciation. To put our money in.
Yeah, the only thing basically the rules on that, and not that you couldn't do money market, it's gotta be backed by FDIC
Sure,
or the Treasury.
of course.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't lend to people, you can't, So you can get, our national account does do better. Our local accounts don't do as well. I mean, you have to go
Yep.
national.
Sure.
It's just a regional thing, I guess, but.
Yeah, I would be in the camp of either selling it or looking to form that industrial development, like that business park over there that we talked about or something along those lines.
Well, good thoughts. Obviously we'll wait for that appraisal. And then we'll discuss it again.
And who knows whether they'll want the building anyway, I mean, maybe they'll knock it down and.
Well, as far as our office building, the new potential people, I think we knock it down. I think almost anybody that's looked at it over the last 20 years will knock it down.
Yep.
I mean, that was one of the conundrums I always had. It's like, geez, I could put 50 grand in this thing. Probably pretty easy. That was 10 years ago, probably 100 now.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yep.
But how much you put in when somebody can come along and everybody I've ever talked to, or talked to me, is like.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wanda, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, not that if we can get a steady income of money from holding that property and leasing to someone, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's good for the IDA to have something like that. Have a little control over it and,
It wouldn't be forever. I agree with everybody else's thoughts. It would be, certain, it's 5 years or 3 years or 10. The ESG one was happening to be 10. or 50, they either tied it with that or solar. It was, I think it was 10, anyway. You know, and then they purchased it. So
I've always thought we
it
should have.
wasn't really long, well, yeah, in the scheme of things, it wasn't real long term, it was medium, I guess.
I always thought it was, you know, the idea to have something shovel ready that, if somebody came in looking, we would have it ready for them. I've always thought that was a good concept. It's never happened to us, but I always wish it could have, or would have.
I agree with you, and that goes back to, you know, the lump sum would give you a little more, well, it wouldn't cure everything, but it would help.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so that's the, I don't think it's a bad problem to have, it's just an issue that we'll have to make a decision on.
In any case, these state agencies that have to sign off on this, that would be a significant delay. They've got up to 3 months to either say yes or no or not respond. So we probably need to start the clock ticking as soon as we
Yeah,
can.
as soon as I get that, yeah, I can let everybody know. I
'Cause
mean, I think you want it, the minimum, yes, you're right, it'll be delayed, so it'll be the best time to delay would be winter.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have one. So it'd be nice to have the decision by December at the latest maybe, but,
Well, I know with the potential warehouse distribution center in Schoharie, the town of Schoharie, BOCES is expanding. And the developers wanted to talk to BOCES about purchasing some of their land. And the guy at BOCES told either Ben or Alan or the developers, they had to get 13 different sign-offs in order to sell the land. And to them, that was just a huge headache. And you needed all 13. If 12 voted yes and 1 voted no, it's done. So fortunately, we don't seem to have that many people that need to sign off on it. But they had to get individual school districts and all sorts of stuff. So it's a huge pain in the neck. And I think if we can avoid that and just probably get our hands on the money, it's a better deal.
Lonnie, you were cut off before, do you have any additional thought?
What's that, John?
You were cut off before, you were going to say something.
Oh, I think, you know, the money sitting in the account is really nice, but, sometimes I'd like to see that put to use too, that would do something for the county. I mean, we want it to be right, but, I mean, we need to make a start somewhere.
And we have no obligation to contact that other company that was gonna do the digester and the growing or anything.
we have nothing signed, whether we should contact them anyway. I did pull out their folder the other day and I did not get to it.
Okay.
I don't know if we do have a legal obligation, but I do think,
Because they were gonna
Probably
send us
no.
something at one time and they never did, right? Yeah,
I think I should contact them, minimally. At least tell them this is what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, it's been over 3 months now since they called me. And I only say that because generally they keep me apprised of quarterly, it seems.
Maybe we should do a request for proposal. And you'd have, there's 2 people who are interested. They certainly showed interest, whether or not they're moving on it or not. And I don't know how many people they were talking about hiring.
I think they were still in the process of coming up with a total funding package, so.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, that's exactly where they were. And the site development fluctuated. You know, between the farm down in toward Richmondville.
The power, old power farm.
Yeah, and then our site. I mean, they needed both.
Yep.
Depending on where the jobs were gonna be or what was gonna be where.
Yep.
But,
Well, I think it's a good idea to contact them. Maybe that would give them the needed impetus to actually start doing something more broadly on this project. If not, then we appear to have an interested buyer to begin with, so you could say, please respond within 72 hours.
Well, it's due diligence too.
Yeah.
We knew they were at one time interested, so we'll be we would be remiss in not.
Reaching out one
Yeah,
last time.
That and the fact that SUNY Cobleskill has, got an interest in it, so it would be respectful to them
Yeah.
to say, we have an opportunity here, but we don't want to do anything contrary to what you are maybe expecting. So, but if they have another option themselves with this other farm, they're not shut out completely. So.
Anything else on the land at this point?
No, it was good.
It's good discussion.
We'll see. Well, I'll flip that to you, everybody, as soon as I get it.
And do we want to do anything on the other parcel up there?
Well, we haven't talked much about it. We do have the appraisal.
Okay.
And that's where that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So I don't know. If you want to see, the owner, I don't know if it's because of the fall and / winter coming up, or, he hasn't been back.
Have we shared the appraisal with him, or
No,
the dollar value?
I mean, I certainly could do that.
Yeah.
And see when we
Yeah.
get a response.
Yep.
If that's what the pleasure is.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. May as well keep that moving.
You might have paid $1 for it, right?
Let it go back on the
I
roads.
don't think it was that high.
Yeah.
Go back on the roads with an appraised value of $1. I was very suspicious about that deal. What do I know?
Well, but then we can always go back out and similarly and just ask for anybody, solicit interest.
That site was also part of the study. I mean, and there was also a drawing on one piece of that. That recognized it's, the topography, excuse me. And the site, just the site itself, it's a little bit of a work to be done. But they did have a proposed building on it. And, so there has been at least thought on that parcel, even though it's harder to use than the one we sit on. But yeah, so I guess the first step is to see what he thinks.
Yeah, when he came in, interest rates were still pretty low, so the game may have changed.
Yeah.
Well, he's not out of space to build. So he's gonna do any further expansion. It's the only direction he can go.
Yeah, because he can't go any further up the hill, I guess.
No.
It's a little steep.
There's still,
California type houses, I don't even know where.
There's still pretty
Falling
significant
into the
demand for those.
Pacific.
We'd be falling in.
Supposedly he has a waiting list now,
I'm sure there's demand for those.
from what I
He
hear.
seems to do all right.
I mean, he wants it for next to nothing, but, I mean, he can generate significant revenue to offset whatever he pays for the place. All right.
Okay, well, that's that part.
Administration.
I guess I'll lead in before I turn it over to Cheyenne or Joe. We we asked for resumes for this position, and then we got several, and we did interview what we consider two of the leading candidates just last Friday. They both went well, and that's essentially where we're at with those two folks. And I don't know if you want to add, yeah, I'm sure you.
Yeah, they were both good candidates, but we have another wrinkle, and that was the proposal from Seek and the 60, 75, 20, 25 breakdown, and that we need to get some. I don't know if you call it approval, but at least some understanding from both the county, and we ought to also talk to Joe Scott to see what that's all about. So it's kind of put us on a hold, and hopefully we can get it resolved fairly quick, because we don't want to lose, either candidate. So that's where we're at now. Actually, Ron and I were meeting with Bill Federice in about an hour at the recommendation of Alicia Terry to see what their position would be on that kind of a breakdown, or what they would be acceptable to. That's where we stand on that.
Can you walk us through the breakdown again?
Bill, can we go into executive session if we can talk about this money?
I move that we go into executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, we'll move to executive session.
I'll wait for Bill to
Okay.
No, good.
Um,
I can't remember what.
resume the, board of directors meeting out of executive session. The next thing on the agenda is to set the date for the next meeting.
I guess it don't matter so fast. How much time you need to talk about administration.
We,
I mean, if we can gain something, I wouldn't mind doing it before Thanksgiving, but that's only if we can gain something to say.
Yeah.
Something to go forward with.
Well, I think that's probably, I imagine that the administration issue is probably gonna be taken care of in a fairly short time. If we met on the 14th of November, would that work?
Sounds good to me.
And then hopefully by then we would have the appraisal back on our parcel.
I would think so. I'm a little surprised it's not here today.
And then maybe you would also would have a chance to reach out to the people that, from the college area that were interested in ours.
Yep.
And just get their intent or not intent.
9:30 again?
9:30 on the 14th, that sounds good. Sharon Springs Inc. should be finished the construction by then.
Right?
What's that, 576?
597.
596?
Are you overseeing that job?
Yeah, I will, I'm gonna have to buy a hard hat.
And would that be here?
Let's stay here.
TBS,
Unless I form otherwise, stay here.
okay.
9:30?
And we're going to a
9:30
bank
is-
or over there.
I parked in laundry.
Yeah,
I parked in
me
my
too.
Yeah, that works.
Rolling the dice.
I hope it
We
works.
had 2 good hours anyway.
so, November 14th at 9:30.
Yes.
Move to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Are you?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
You know, when you were telling me about the tax stuff?
Yeah.
My mother died in 95, so we went through her stuff. And she had all her tax returns back from 1943.
It's basically.
So the 1943 tax